and welcome to yet another episode of That's Absurd. Please elaborate. My name is Trace Dominguez. I am one of the two people who's usually the talker person on this here show. And last week, I did a lot of talking with our buddy Wallace from University of California, San Francisco, which was so awesome to have that live show. And now you're going to hear from somebody else who you didn't hear at the live show as much because he didn't do an answer, Julian Hugan.
Yeah, I get to talk this time. I mean, I talked a lot in the last one, but like interstitially. But now I get all the attention for a little bit, and that's what I crave. Craving it. If this is your first time listening to the show, sorry. Welcome. This is a show where Trace and I solicit questions from listeners, and then we pick one each, and then we go off and we do research on it, and then we come back and we share the answers with each other and hopefully learn something interesting along the way.
So yeah, in each episode, we answer those questions. And if you want to support the show, you can do that on Patreon. It's the main way that we can keep this show going. You can join just by going down into the show notes and looking for the Patreon link. Thank you to all of our patrons. We will thank you again later at the end of the show. If you want to be included in that, the great thanking, please, join and support the show.
In that giving of thanks.
Yeah. Oh,
if only there were a holiday for that, where we just think about how thankful we are for things, Anyway. Somebody should invent that.
In the meantime, why don't you just tell us about the question that you're going to answer this week?
This question was, by the way, selected by our patrons on Patreon, and it was asked by a longtime patron and longtime listener, possible top all-time question submitter, Shane.
But Shane got picked in a fair poll by the patrons. They didn't know it was Shane. I mean, Shane probably knew it was Shane.
Shane thinks every question in the poll might have been one that Shane submitted. Like, every time I put the 5 questions up, Shane's like, wait, was that one me? And I'm like, I don't think this one. But this time it was. Shane actually sent us audio, so let's take a listen.
Hello, Tape. My name is Shane, and I'm from Frankfurt, Germany. My question is, what can we not achieve with enough time? I was listening to some of the questions asked on the show, and realized that some of them could be answered by simply giving an infinite number of years. For example, humans could build a Lego replica of the sun given an infinite number of years. So I was thinking, if we had an infinite number of years, what couldn't we achieve? Thank you, Julian, for answering my question. You're absolutely carrying the show. I think the show couldn't be the same without you, and Trace is also there.
Oh my, how the turntables have turned.
That was good. Good job, Shane.
Oh, absolute hand grenade thrown in at the end there.
Wow.
Just the apple of discord, like the start of the Trojan War, just tossed into the middle of the party.
That was so good.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Shane? So yeah, I can't get over that last bit. I'm still dying. When we say that we could build Lego replicas of the sun and stuff, we kind of hand wave and say it'll take an infinite number of years. But I don't know if that's necessarily the case. But I did find something I think will take infinite time, and we will get to that.
Ooh.
But this is a bit of a disclaimer off the top, by the way. I went super ADHD on this answer, which I think, based on the questions that Shane submits, is appropriate because they're also all over the place. So bear with me as we go on a bit of a very long walk.
Are you saying we're going to go ride bikes?
That'd be nice.
I'd like to go ride bikes.
Oh,
let's just go do that.
Lovely.
Well, yeah, let's do.
Can you picture us on a tandem bike? Because I can.
Oh, that would be nice. What song would be playing? This has to do with my question. What song would be playing?
It's got to be the Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer too, right?
Oh, I just think of the HAL computer singing it, and I'm like, that doesn't make me happy.
Oh yeah, you've got a point. Anyway, so
this has been your first ADHD moment.
First of many. All right. So I was thinking, there are a lot of things that if you are patient enough, you can achieve them within your lifetime. My recent inspiration has been Christosphere. Do you know what I'm talking about? So there's a guy on Instagram with the handle Shirts and Pants, and he's been kicking a rock for over half a year with the goal of making it perfectly spherical.
I mean, that's going to be...
Yeah.
But...
And he's
wearing it down. He is a human rock tumbler.
He has named said rock Christosphere, which I find delightful. And he's been just steadily kicking this once quite lumpy, amorphous rock to a point that it's quite round now. And for the rock nerds out there, it's granodiorite. I know you were wondering. And he's just been kicking this for a long time. And yes, it's pretty spherical. It rolls quite nicely now. Or sometimes I think of feats where, like, a Buddhist monk prayed in the same spot for 20 years, and now their feet are worn into the floor. Now, I have to find the story. It would be easy to link it to you if I was all on one computer.
Yeah, he's on 2 computers. Audience, we're having some technical problems in the show.
It's in the chat.
Okay, I got it. There it is.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. Whoa. That's cool. Okay, so it's floorboards, and it just looks like almost, you know, those toys that are just pins.
Yeah. And
you can put your hand and you see the hand in the pins. Mm-hmm. It's that, but it's the floor. Also, it's a bit of an optical illusion because I don't know if it's coming at me or going into the floor.
Right.
That's just
one of those.
I know it's going into the floor because it's just a picture from top down.
But you could trick yourself into thinking it's
for sure.
Feet coming out at you.
Wow.
So yeah, this is a Buddhist monk who prayed for 20 years in the same spot until his feet have exactly the same spot until his feet have worn a spot into the floorboards.
Wow.
So you can achieve some pretty amazing things given some patience and persistence. So for Shane, what counts as enough time? Is a lifetime enough time? Because there are things that you can do if you start them, if somebody else carries them on, that last multiple generations. And I thought,
like science,
since this is a science show, we should look into some long-running science experiments. Exactly.
Yay!
Trace, do you know of any multi-generation spanning experiments?
The pitch drop experiment, very famous.
What's the pitch drop experiment?
There is a live stream of it. The pitch drop experiment is a bit of pitch, which is, I'm not going to describe, it's like asphalt, I think. And it's very thick, but it is a fluid in that it moves. It just moves extremely slowly. And they put it in a container and it drops out the bottom of the container. But it goes so slowly that there was a guy waiting for it to drop. And they're like, is he going to die before it drops? We don't know. It's at the University of Queensland, and it was started in 1927. This is in Brisbane, Australia, by Thomas Parnell. The most recent drop was in 2014. Wow. However, the first pitch was poured in 1927. The first drop didn't fall until 1938, then 1947, 54, 62, 70, 79, 88, 2000, and then, of course, the 9th drop ever, 13.4 years after the 8th drop. So they are increasing in time in between.
Wow.
Which is pretty interesting. Because the average temperature was lowered after the 7th drop, it was roughly 9 years. Roughly, 8 years, 7, 8, 8, 8, 8, a little later in 8, 9, and then they installed air conditioning. So between 1988 and 2000, it added another 3 years because it was colder in the room, which is just amazing. And it's not the only one. There are several pitch drop experiments around the world, but I just think it's incredible that it's so stupid.
It is.
It's completely pointless.
It sure seems that way. I'm not totally sure what the goal is of just watching, aside from, like, testing your limits of boredom. Why would you do this? Why would you just sit around and wait?
They did win an Ig Nobel in 2005, which, if you don't know what the Ig Nobels are, it basically means, like, exactly what we just did. Why?
This is a silly, pointless experiment.
And like I said, you can go see the pitch drop as currently have it, the10thwatch.com.
Wow.
Because, it should be soon, actually. If it's going to be like 12-ish years, we're like coming up on, guys.
This is exciting.
We're
Everybody
coming
tune
up
in.
on it.
Drop what you're doing right now and switch over.
I'm pulling it up.
To the 10thdrop.com.
So intense.
So, Yes, that's one example that I...
Before you move on, you have to see the webcam. You asked me for stupid science, and I gave it to you.
That's on me. Loading.
There's a button you have to click for the webcam. There it is, Julian.
Oh my word. She is beautiful.
Look at how close she is to dropping.
Wow. This is now an official pitch drop podcast. We're going to abandon everything else we had
Did
planned.
it drop today? Honestly, best podcast ever. 1 minute long. Did it drop today?
Nope.
Nope,
Anyway.
it didn't.
Come back tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in
Be
to
very
the
exciting.
podcast within a podcast. Did the pitch drop?
Do the pitch drop. No.
I'm putting this in our show notes
Oh my gosh, they have art.
for every episode. We're going to check every episode if it has dropped.
We have a lot of running gags we have to do now. This shows
yeah.
a lot of effort. Okay. Well, I looked up some long-running experiments, and I found some that have lasted well over a century. For example, the broad bulk experiment has lasted 173 years, at least the time the article was written that I looked up. And it was when agronomists...
Agronomist.
Yes.
Which is how I feel
Guy
when you make puns.
who's in agriculture... That was pretty good. I gotta give you your due.
Thank you.
Guy who's an agriculture scientist, John Bennett Laws, and chemist Joseph Henry Gilbert were testing artificial fertilizer in fields, and they would do it year after year after year, and it's still going, and it's been well over a century. Second longest running experiment I could find was the park grass experiment that's been going 160 plus years, and it was those same guys again.
What?
Yeah. This time, testing how different fertilizers would benefit different plants. You know, when some compounds more grasses would grow, others more beans would grow, that sort of thing. And
Good
then,
old beans.
third longest experiment I could find, the broad bulk and Geesecroft wilderness experiment, has lasted 134 years, and it was Laws again.
What?
Seeing
This guy
how-
loved giving his work to other people.
Just starting stuff with me like, this
He's
is
just
your
like,
problem now.
I wonder about this.
Yeah.
Can I get some funding to get it going? I can.
But this-
Okay, now I'm done wondering. I'll give it
I've
to
got
somebody else.
4 of those. This is the old school, like, passive income life hack, bro, on social media. That's like, bro, you just got to put your money in these properties. Sit back, let
Yeah.
it work for you. That, but with
Do it, bro. Do it, bro.
science
Bro.
experiments.
If you said AI 2 or 3 more times, I think we would have automatically sent 2,500 emails.
Yeah. Yeah. This was long before AI, fortunately. So he was just testing in this last experiment how wilderness would overtake abandoned farmland again, year after year after year, and it's still going. But I think we can go longer. And the first place my mind went to when I saw Shane's question, this is why I wanted to take it, was I thought of cryptography.
Oh, cool.
Yes. So cryptography is how we secure sensitive data, right? We take what you actually need to send, the message, whatever it may be, like, hey, you know, we're going to go attack this bridge at dawn or whatever, right? And you take that plain text and you apply some mathematical algorithms to it, and you change it, you jumble it, and you turn it into a cryptographic hash. And then you send that message, and then whoever receives it, if they have the right key, the right way of basically undoing that algorithm, they can turn it back into the plain text and they can read it, right?
Yeah.
Now, there are a lot of different methods that people might try to break an encryption, right? They're not just guessing and checking. You know, they might try analyzing the cryptographic hash and see if there's certain patterns that emerge that might line up with how languages also have certain patterns, right? Like double letters, like L's or T's or something like that, right? They might try and intercept the key somehow that somebody's going to have to use to unlock it. There's a lot of different things. But the old reliable really is, in this digital era, just brute force guessing and checking, right? Just trying to
Guessing and checking.
Yeah, just create that digital key yourself and plug it into the digital keyhole, and if it turns, congrats, and if not, well, try another one, right?
Yeah.
So, this is where we get into how many bits you might use to encrypt a message, right? And a bit is just like a digital 1 or a 0. And so, for 128-bit encryption, that means your key is 128 ones or zeros long. If you were to guess and check at 10 billion keys per second. How long do you think it would take?
That's a lot of keys.
Yeah, that is a lot of keys.
That's 10 billion per second.
10 billion. You have a really fast computer. It can generate a lot of these ones and zero strings.
I'm going to guess a few years? A few months?
I mean, a few years is understating it.
Oh, so I was going in the right direction with the going up years.
Go up more.
More years.
More years.
Many years.
How many zeros are in many years?
Oh, I was thinking maybe 20 or 30.
20 zeros?
You're saying, no, 20 or 30
20 or
years.
30 years. No. No, way underselling it. No.
Oh, no. How many?
It would take 539 million years.
Oh, at 10 billion guesses a second?
A second. That's how long it would take. Now,
I mean, I knew it was a lot.
That's 128-bit. A common key length that we actually use is 256 bits.
Oh, man. That's going to be exponentially
You know how long that's going to take?
Longer than the age of the universe.
At 10 billion keys per second? Yes.
Longer than the age of the universe.
It would take, and let me make sure I get all the millions right here, 183,587 million years.
That's 8 millions?
1.8 times 10 to the 59 years.
That's too many years.
Yeah.
There's not enough years.
That's not enough years. There haven't been that many years yet.
This is too many. It's too many years.
There haven't been that many years yet. The universe is about 13.8 billion years old.
I'm broken. You've broken.
It's an unfathomable amount of time.
Yes.
And yet, as Shane was discussing, it's not infinite time, right? Because the universe...
Infinite Time, great band name.
Great band name.
Great band name.
The
Infinite
universe-
Time, super psychedelic, really chill. You listen to it in a yurt.
Infinite time, for sure. On
Infinite
peyote.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ayahuasca.
Both.
Yeah.
You both.
I'm just going to throw that out here. I do not condone doing either of those things.
Or both.
Don't listen to Infinite Time.
Don't do what we're
We'll
doing.
lose you. But that's still an amount of time that is finite. That, more importantly, we think the universe is still going to be here chugging along to some degree, right? By our best guess.
This is not heat death, big rip kind of territory.
Exactly. I was going to go into heat death. Do you want to discuss what that is?
I mean, sure. It's actually pretty easy to understand, I think. You have the Big Bang, everything's hot and soupy. Slowly over time, the universe is expanding and cooling. We know it's expanding and cooling. We've talked about it maybe on this show before, but I've talked about it a lot over the years in the sciences. Basically, it's why we have a dark sky, because things are expanding and cooling, red shifts of light, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, the universe is expanding in every direction all at once. So eventually, it would make sense that it's so far apart from each other that everything cools down. It all becomes a uniform temperature, and that's the heat death of the universe, which includes everything, everywhere, all the planets, all the suns are gone, everything.
Mm-hmm. There's not enough temperature difference, enough thermal energy difference between things to do any usable work, right? It's all like a uniform temperature, and because of that, there's just no more entropy. Nothing else can change.
The fusion has all happened.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's done.
Even the black holes, the largest ones that exist, have evaporated due to Hawking radiation, right? Which would be kind of the last source of things changing in the universe. And that will take 10 to the 100 years by some estimates.
Oh, okay. So we're still under that.
Yeah.
Good. Great.
We're a long shot far of that.
We have so much time.
I mean, you could add more bits to the key, which is funny if you consider that maybe the message is just something like, hey, don't forget to pick up milk before it spoils. By the time you crack that milk's long spoiled, right? If that's the message you're sending. It's not,
I think it's
not
more
useful to crack it anymore.
I think it's more like, by the time you crack that, what is milk?
Yeah, cows don't exist,
Earth and the solar system that this came from is gone.
So long gone. There are no cows in this future.
There are no cows unless we send them to space.
There are space cows.
Space cows.
Right. And also, there are advances in computing that might make this encryption time much, much shorter anyway, right? The big promise is quantum computing, being able to crack encryption like this. Yeah, because it can try, multiple keys simultaneously, right? Things in multiple possible states all at once. That's the thinking behind this application of quantum computing. So it's possible that in those 1.8 times 10 to the 59 years, somebody just comes up with a better computer that could do this job faster anyway. And then we're kind of...
Wouldn't you just have to start over then? And it's like the pitch drop experiment. Nobody's going to be like, you know what? It's taking too long. Let's scrap it.
Can you imagine a future where instead of a thing of pitch, it's just like a computer trying billions of keys per second to crack a message that just says, like, pick up milk before Thursday?
Honestly, I would live stream.
What if it gets really lucky?
Like, how's it doing?
Because it's just
gets in like
random. Yeah, like what if the second one?
Honestly, even better.
That would be incredible. It's probably not going to happen though. Anyway, so I tried to think, really applying my brain on what can you not achieve with enough time. And now we're going to get real physicsy.
Oh.
Trace, what's the most well-known equation probably ever that everybody who knows anything about science will just pop off when they're, saying a sciencey equation?
You calculate the tip by taking the decimal point and moving it one over, and that's 10%. And then you cut it in half, and that's 15%. Or you just double it, and that's 20%.
For our European audience, that's what we have to do every time we eat a meal here in the United States at a restaurant.
Now they just have a button that you're supposed to push. You're not talking about a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You're talking about E equals mc squared.
That's the one. E equals mc squared, right? Energy equals the mass of an object times the speed of light squared. Trace, that equation's wrong.
Bum, bum, bum.
Gasp. I mean, it's pretty good. It's usable most of the time.
I love that this humble podcaster is just like, Einstein, moron.
Well, that's the thing. Einstein's equation is correct. E equals mc squared is not the full equation.
No, it's just a simplification
We've
of it.
Simplified it.
Because it's easy to put on a t-shirt.
Yeah, there's that. And you don't have to explain the additional term that's missing from it, which is gamma.
Like the Hulk.
No, not gamma radiation. Just the Greek lowercase letter gamma, right?
Got it.
E equals gamma mc squared is a more accurate version of this equation. Gamma, by the way, is called the Lorentz factor because it's derived from Lorentz's equations. And gamma, if you want to know the math of it, is equal to 1 over the square root of 1 minus the velocity of an object relative to the observer over c, and then both of those v and c are both squared. So v squared over c squared.
Okay, yeah, I've seen this written.
Yep.
I was like, have I heard of this? And then, yeah, that sounds right. Yep.
So if you can look at that equation and kind of understand what it's saying, it becomes kind of immediately apparent. But I'll go into why E equals mc squared is usually good enough for our day-to-day. And that is, most of the time, our velocity that we are traveling and that things around us are traveling in isn't anywhere close to the speed of light, right?
Right.
It's much, much, much smaller. It's a teeny, teeny, tiny fraction of it. The speed of light is almost 3 times 10 to the 8 meters per second, right? It's the fastest anything can go.
Yeah.
And we're going, a handful of meters per second, usually. So because that difference is so enormous, v squared over c squared is basically 0 most of the time, which makes gamma equal to 1, which makes E equals mc squared accurate.
Got it.
But when things start going close to the speed of light, then gamma starts increasing a lot. It's this big upward curve of what gamma represents. And
meaning that you need a lot more energy the closer to speed of light that you are getting.
That's right. That's right.
Is generally how we talk about E equals mc squared, but it makes more sense when you consider what is making the energy grow, because the mass isn't changing and the speed of light's not changing. So you really do need the G in order to understand it on that scale. That makes sense.
Right. So that basically is saying, right, if you have mass, you cannot achieve the speed of light.
Right.
But Trace, do photons the particles that carry light, do they have mass?
Oh, God. Oh, jeez. Are they particles or waves, Julian? Julian?
Yes. Yes, they are particles or waves, to answer your question. But do they have mass?
No.
No, they don't.
So it's fine. They're allowed.
Except then our equation, E equals gamma mc squared, also doesn't make sense.
No, true, because if their mass is zero, then it's just zero.
Then the whole thing is zero. But photons have energy. So do you want to know the real equation? The real correct equation?
The real?
That everybody's been way off on for always?
For real?
For real? Yes. You want to know it?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
The real equation that accounts for massless particles like photons and for things that travel close to the speed of light and everything in between is E squared equals momentum times the speed of light squared plus mc squared squared.
With like everything squared?
So yeah, momentum is squared, speed of light squared in the first part, and then mc squared is squared. So it's really m squared times the speed of light to the fourth power.
That's a lot of squares.
It's a lot of squares. And this accounts for everything because the equation for momentum, which most people think is just mass times velocity, the most accurate equation is gamma times mass times velocity.
That makes sense.
Right? And momentum is increased when you apply a force times time. So, in order for momentum to increase to the point that something is traveling the speed of light, you would need to apply a force for infinite time. There you go.
You did it.
I figured out the thing that you literally need infinite time to do. Not just like, wow, that'll take a long time. No. Mathematically, infinite time is necessary if something has mass to accelerate it to the speed of light. And that's why it's not possible.
I couldn't you have just answered count to infinity?
Why are you just bringing this up now? We've been recording for 40 minutes. You would have saved us so much time. Oh no. Why didn't I think of that?
I don't know.
I was in a field in England somewhere for 173 years for 1 minute during this whole thing. I went all over the place. Counting to infinity sounds like a Mr. Beast video. I hope he tries it.
Yeah. God, yeah, it does sound like one. But only if there's money involved and also real-life Squid Games.
Infinity money.
Well, that was amazing. And thank you for your question, Shane. Let's take a quick break and we'll come back with another question, which is less mathy, but still pretty cool.
Can you imagine if you're all pedantic and you correct people? Like, you see equals MC squared on a t-shirt and you're like, it's E squared equals PC squared plus MC squared.
How correct do you want to be? Because I have a Sharpie here. I could just write gamma.
There's no gamma factor anywhere in this.
False!
Welcome back to That's Absurd. Please elaborate. We weren't gone for an infinite amount of time. I know it felt like it. I know you missed us.
I missed you too.
Oh, thanks, bud.
I was talking to the audience.
Oh.
Your face was pretty good though.
It hurt. It actually hurt. I really felt that. I was in the moment. Trace, what's your question this week?
My question this week comes from Rebecca, who called us and left us a voicemail.
Hi, this is Rebecca from Philadelphia. My question was, how would human biology and society be different if everyone was constantly playing their life soundtrack in their head and you could tune into other people's soundtracks? I thought of this because I might be in the minority here, but very frequently I sort of play music in my head that fits my mood, that I think would go well with whatever I was doing at that time. And I thought it would be interesting if I could hear other people's internal soundtracks. Initially, I thought it might be cool if you were constantly broadcasting your soundtrack to everyone, but that sounded maddening. So I adapted my idea to everybody being able to hear other people's internal soundtracks. My husband was worried that perhaps that would include being able to read other people's minds, but in my vision of this, it would just be the soundtracks that you would be able to tune into. So you couldn't hear other people's thoughts, just their soundtracks. So yeah, that's where that question came from. And most importantly, would that solve anything? My whole family loves your podcast. Thanks so much.
Yay.
I can't wait to hear your answer.
Yay.
Thanks. Bye.
That was very thorough. I really liked that question. I thought it was really good. I have always had songs in my head. It's like a thing that I have playing in my head all the time. I've often thought, depending on the technology that's popular in the science fiction film of the era, like the Johnny mnemonic days, you plug into the back of your head and you could like upload and download data. And then in the Matrix days, the same actor could plug into the back of his head and upload and download data. And then in the Cyberpunk 2077, same guy.
I was like, he's got to hit the Keanu hat trick of times.
And plug in and upload and download
also
data.
playing a character named Johnny.
Yeah.
This time
it's
Johnny
really
Silverhand.
Just Keanu Reeves' filmography, as it turns out. But I've always thought it was cool because it was like, wouldn't it be nice if you could just have a headphone port and just like plug into your own? I mean, I don't need it, but like, and play it. But do you hear music in your head? Do you like listen to music in your head?
I am a frequent victim of songs getting lodged in my brain.
Yeah.
And then me having poor impulse control, they like come out at random times. So people kind of do hear my soundtrack from time to time. You want to know what's in my head right now?
Yes, please.
Okay, it came on shuffle, but it's a Canadian band from the 90s called Moxie Fruvis.
Oh, I know Moxie Fruvis.
Has a song called
The King of Spain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once I was the King of Spain.
Now I eat humble pie. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, great. Ooh, my unspeakable wife, Queen Lisa.
Yeah.
Now I eat humble pie. Wow, I've never met anybody else who knows Moxie Fruvis.
Yeah, I don't know why,
so
but
funny.
the idea of a guy trying to convince people that he was in fact the King of Spain, even though he works at a pizza shop now, is really funny to me. And it just keeps like re-entering my
now
brain.
I vacuum the turf at Sky Dome.
That's the one. Yeah. A Canadian. He's got full of
great.
Toronto references.
It's very funny.
It's so
Highly
good.
recommend.
It's so good.
And that's just stuck in your head right now?
For like 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Just
That's
that
a long
one.
time. That's a long time
Yeah.
to have the King of Spain stuck in your head. I also get songs stuck in my head. I find it... one of the first times a friend of mine described what it was like for her to enjoy cannabis, she was like, it's like floating and like a record player's like playing a song on repeat. I'm like, oh, so it's like having ADHD. Got it. You just constantly have songs in your head that you can't get rid of, and you want to turn them off, but you can't. So I hear that pretty strongly. Now, we could talk about the biology of this, right? Like, we evolved to do it. But we talked about that in our telepathy episode, and I don't want to go over it again. Okay. So instead, we're going to just kind of change the game a little bit and say, there's a magic button. We're going to hit a magic button, which we do on our podcast sometimes, and everyone has some kind of bionic thing, that a little radio station, and anyone can tune into that radio station. And we'll come back to the technological and kind of like what this would mean in a second. If you knew that this was a thing, what song do you think you would be playing, knowing that people might tune in? Or would it just be like, well, the King of Spain's in
King
there,
of
so I
Spain
guess
by Moxie Fruvis right now.
The King of
If
Spain
I have to
channel.
have this stuck in my head, so does everybody else.
That's funny. For me, honestly, a lot of times things get stuck in my head that I can either whistle or I can I can kind of hum or sing along to. Weirdly, things from like jazz band in high school, Night of the Living Chili Pepper gets stuck in there a lot. I played the trombone in the jazz band, so I don't know, just random stuff gets stuck in there sometimes.
I think this is an interesting question because this idea that like somebody else could hear it, right? Like you'd be broadcasting it. How much would that affect your song choice, like you're alluding to, right? Like,
yeah.
Because, yeah, King of Spain is stuck in my head right now, but let's say I was at like a social gathering and I wanted people to think I was really like, classy. Cool. Yeah, and I just put on like Beethoven's Fifth or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's a good point. Sometimes when I used to work at the fort, okay, bingo.
I was waiting for it. I was like, he didn't bring up the fife. I'm shocked.
I didn't. On purpose. I was trying to hold it back. But then you brought that up, and it's like when I would have to wander around. There's nothing to distract you when you are out in a historic interpreter situation, right? You can't take your phone, not that it was the early 2000s, people didn't have cell phones as ubiquitously as we do now, but it was like I would whistle a lot of things. And some of the things I would whistle are like the Brandenburg Concerto and stuff that was like longer pieces that weren't pop culture because, you know, it was just a different time. And so I could entertain myself that way.
Yeah, it was the late 1800s.
It was the 1880s. Anyway, so then I started to think, though, you and I are talking about this like, oh, we can just recall music. How accurate do you think that is? Just, I mean, there's not like science on it. Obviously, we can't go and study how accurate somebody's brain music is. But I don't imagine it's actually that accurate because everything we do know about memory is that memory is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Most memory is bad. And every time you access memories, it changes them. So if you played the same song over and over again, you would probably change that song because that's how your brain works.
Also, you know, to consider like that listening to music is kind of a skill to be able to like pick up on a lot of nuances. Like, I can't
different
think
instruments.
Of like a bass line from a lot of songs that I've listened to, you know? Like if you were to ask me to isolate that. And so if I were to try and recreate it, I don't know if I could. Unless it was like really prominently featured, you know? It's kind of one of those things that it's adding stuff without you realizing it. But if you're not a connoisseur, like you might not appreciate it and clock it. So like,
good point.
Your soundtrack, if you're just playing it straight from the dome from memory, would probably be pretty inaccurate and incomplete.
Perfect, great. Excellent. Love that. I agree. Only like 1 in 10,000 people have perfect pitch, for example. So even if you were recalling the music, there's nothing to be said that you're recalling it accurately, that you were representing that music well. Not that that might even matter, because it may not matter if you represent the music well, but imagine that your music understanding is too simplistic for some people. They're like, this person only plays like one voice, right? When you're talking about music, especially in like computer language, you might say like the sound blaster from like the 90s, you know, and it only had so many voices that it could play at the same time. Or like the Nintendo could only play, you know, a couple different voices at the same time. So they'd have to turn one off and make it play something else that sounded like it was from a different voice to like trick you into thinking it was doing lots more than it was.
Side note, rabbit hole, but if you ever watch like the things people figured out to do with really limited video game hardware from like the 80s and 90s, it's
so interesting.
So cool. Like these people were so clever.
And they were doing this to give you the idea that it was more complex than it is. And you wouldn't be able to do that with what I have called Braindio. I wanted to call it Bradio, but I don't think that works as well as Braindio.
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 I think Bradio. I don't know. I'm a Bradio fan.
You're more of a Bradio? It just sounds
Brain
like Brady.
FM.
Brain FM. Cereb FM.
Ooh. All cerebral all the time. Sprawl the time.
Braindio. So we're going to come back to the magic button now. So the magic button gives everybody this little broadcast station from their brains. Boop. Most people probably not great at this. There's also something to be said that some people would be playing nothing, right?
Sure.
You know this, right?
Sure.
That some people do not have inner voices.
Yes.
Some people do not have inner monologues. We don't know exactly how much of the population doesn't. About 50% is the assumption. You know, it's been a discussion for a long time, but it started with a viral post in the 2020s announcing some people don't seem to have this inner voice, and it pops up every so often. You know, the XKCD today's 10,000 thing really hits on the internet. You can go viral just stealing someone else's content. That's too bad.
Love that. I don't love that. That was sarcasm.
Yeah. I clearly have a voice in my head, or I would have said, you know, oh, wow. And I imagine you do in yours as well. Is the voice in your head you, do you think? Because my head, I don't think it like sounds like anything, right? Like I don't hear my voice as my voice necessarily, but maybe I do and I just don't know. I don't know. It's complicated.
Yeah.
It is a voice. Doesn't have volume. It's not like a deeper voice or a higher pitched voice, although I can pretend, you know, I can imagine it to be. But even like reading this in my notes, I like if I were reading it silently, I could hear it in my head, or like it would feel like that. And for people that don't have an inner voice, you know, I can replay a conversation. I can hear that conversation again inside of my head. I can replay what they might have said. I can imagine how they might have reacted. I can imagine what their voice would sound like if they were upset. You know, I can physically, like, I can think about parts of a movie and kind of see them and replay them. I can imagine myself in that scene and I can walk around in it. I'm just imagining, though, and I'm not like physically seeing it. If I close my eyes, I don't see that, but I can picture it in my mind. So it's a cool power, but it's not universal. I stumbled on a Reddit thread that kind of blew my mind, and it said, can you hear music in your head? Like actual songs that are indistinguishable from an external source. I can. Julian, you seem to say that you can.
Oh, yeah.
The top comment says, I am a professional musician and I cannot do this.
Oh, no.
I can't even recall what my own songs sound like. When I hear one, I instantly recognize it and can sing along or hum it, but if it's not playing, I can't remember how it starts. However, if I imagine, you put music in front of them, they could read it and know their song. But I think that is fascinating, that there are people that just couldn't hear music in their head. So their radio station would be nothing. Their braindio station would be nothing.
Can you imagine you're just next to Hans Zimmer on the train or something and you're like, oh my God, this is my chance to hear his braindio. And then it's just, what if it was just boom, 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 not like a big orchestra, but just
it was just a slide whistle. You're sitting next to Hans Zimmer and you tune into his radio station and it's just
or it was just him thinking note, 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 note.
I think it would be more disconcerting if Hans Zimmer had a silent. There was just nothing. He's
you're
just I'm not giving it away for free.
Is this thing on? Is this?
So the technology of it, I think, would be really fun. Imagine a braindio. It would have to, if it's technological, it would have to follow the rules that we know of now, like the electromagnetic spectrum, which we've talked about on the show before. It would be a nightmare for the FCC. There's only so much spectrum in the world. The AM/FM radio is all about spectrum, power, and license. So they have this specific location and a specific bit of spectrum that they've licensed to use, and they can push out, megawatts of power to reach a set distance. And if you leave one area, you go to another area, you get a different radio station with a different license and different spectrum, or the same spectrum and different level of power. Every device that has a radio chip in the United States has an FCC ID, which means it has to be tested and found to only broadcast on their tiny sliver of the band that they're allowed and at the power level that they're supposed to be broadcasting at, etc. So Bluetooth is only allowed in the 2.4 gigahertz band, same as Wi-Fi, cordless phones, and hundreds of other devices. So the braindio could just join them, right? We've got this little braindio thing in there. 2.4 gigahertz is fine. The FCC doesn't require specific licenses to operate them. So now we've got our braindios, and there's a lot of devices out there, but it's fine because Wi-Fi works because it listens before it talks, makes sure that there's nothing broadcasting on that specific channel. So we just imagine the braindios are hearing each other's signal and then routing around it, which would make places less busy. Now, the fear would be, right, that if you could tune into everybody's, there'd be just too much noise. You'd be flipping through the radio stations near you, the braindio stations, and it would just be ding, ding, ding. There'd be hundreds of them if you were in an area with hundreds. But there'd probably be some limitation in terms of the technology that, people would be overlapping or something like that. So I think societally, here's how it would change. And if you have different ideas, I'd love to hear them.
Sure.
Braindio people would find braindio influencers like Hans Zimmer, right? Maybe Hans Zimmer is a braindio influencer because he's just so good at imagining the orchestra that he wants to play. So maybe there's a show or a place that you can go and listen to specific braindio broadcasters who you really love. Since it's technological, I think we're going to just blanket say there's no way to broadcast these outside of proximity because I think that makes it more interesting. So we'll conservatively estimate, similar to Bluetooth, it's 30 meters maybe at most, right? About 100 feet. And you're really, or Wi-Fi, I guess, you're really pushing it to get that far. So you'd really have to get near someone. And so that would add this scarcity element to it, which would be really interesting. You could have concerts, you could have influencer systems, you could have people who are just really good at this and artists that are really good at this. And I think that's kind of cool to think about. That you'd have this another way to kind of use your your brain to create something that people could enjoy or hate.
I'm imagining how it would allow like another avenue for humans to kind of understand each other's state of mind better, right? Mm-hmm. Like when I think of a soundtrack, it's the movie giving you a not so subtle clue on how to feel about things.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought this up. Yes.
Like it's telling you like this is a happy scene, this is a scary scene, you know, like the music, it's such an important part in that like emotional equation of filmmaking. Mm-hmm. And if you've got one going on, I mean, are you picking it or is some, you know, unknown film scorer actually the one who's like got your soundtrack to your life going on inside your head? I don't know. Probably you're picking it, but even so, I think that's an insight into how you're feeling. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
And what's going on in your head. And if you have this ability to kind of instantly tune to that frequency that somebody else is on, I think that's just would be another tool in our toolbox and like empathizing with each other and communicating with each other and you know with all the things that goes along with that. Some people are gonna tune into your soundtrack and be like, oh, this person's upset right now, or some people are gonna tune into it and be like, oh, how can I manipulate you to get what I want based on this signal that I'm picking up, right? I think the impacts would be complicated, but also not that different from just how we already are when we communicate with each other with all the subtle ways that humans communicate already.
I think what would end up happening is exactly the same, right? Like what I kind of guessed is you'd get to know people in a different way than we do now. The difference would be because it's like communication at a distance, you might get to know your neighbors in a different way because your neighbors would always be nearby you. So you could always tune into their radios, their braindios. Vacationing. Maybe you go somewhere because you like the braindios that are there. Like you really love the braindios on some Caribbean island or like in Nashville or whatever. And so you go there to like listen to the braindio. It would just become part of the fabric of a place or of a person. Yeah. Similar to nonverbal cues, fashion, the way that we style our hair, the way that we hold ourselves and carry ourselves, the voices we use when we talk to people, you know, the language we use. It would just be part of that fabric, right? And I wonder if there would be things like in a business meeting, you'd be told no braindio. Like you have to, your braindio has to be silent. You can't, I don't want somebody tuning in like the person we're trying to pitch this big thing to and you're and you're listening to, I don't know,
Once
Rent
I
or
was
something
the king
like
of Spain.
Exactly. Yeah, that's somebody you're in the meeting and they're like, who's playing the King of Spain? Sorry, sir.
Who's playing this 1990s Canadian folk rock band right now? What is this?
I think that would definitely happen. To take it a level deeper, I wonder if because there's no technological way to rebroadcast it, what if there was like braindio rebroadcasters? Like I tune into Julian's King of Spain radio station, braindio station, and then I, like an interpreter who can hear one language and speak another, I can rebroadcast it. Like I'm just listening to it, but you could probably end up with people who get really good at that and could reproduce other people's music that they heard in their braindios. It would just be really interesting to see how human brains, if music just became one other way that everyone could communicate, because right now musicians use this, exactly to your point, for emotional transference, to tell you how you should feel, how you could feel, to express themselves. This would just be another way to do that, and everyone could do it, you know, except for people that maybe don't have inner voices or don't have inner music. But I think that could change society. Could be really, really neat. I also think on the other side, though, there'd be some negatives, right? You might want a vacation to get away from braindios if you lived somewhere where there were a lot. You know, you might, if you were wealthy, you might have somebody who like braindios your favorite music for you all the time, and that is their job, is just to be constantly braindioing your favorite music.
If you don't want to hear it, you might actually have to wear some sort of like metal hat.
Faraday.
Yeah, like a
Faraday
tinfoil hat to block out the radio waves, like genuinely.
Right. Yeah. I think it's important to think about it as like I have to tune into it, but that means you'd have to know it's there. So on some level, you'd have to always be aware of what the braindios are around you.
The braindio influencers would get their frequency tattooed on their forehead.
For sure.
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you think we could give animals braindios?
I mean, every time we talk about what animals do and do not think and do not know, it's so frustrating because it's like we have no clue what's going on in an animal brain. Like, we have a best guess and, like, that's it. So, who knows if I don't think my dog appreciates music, you know?
Probably not.
I mean,
there are some studies of dogs and music and how that affects their behavior, and it's like, okay, but we don't really
I think
know.
my dog's braindio would just be static. Just nothing. if a braindio is only capable of transmitting music, like, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing coming out of that dog.
I was thinking of, like, animals that we already think of as musical, you know, whales and dolphins and
birds.
You know, birds, yeah, very much so. Cool. And so it's like I wonder if they might be able to be tapped into, which could be pretty neat.
But do you think the bird's song would be identical to the song the bird's already singing?
I mean, that's a question of, like, consciousness, right? Do they have inner thoughts that are different from their external thoughts? I don't know.
Do birds have an idea for a bird song in their head, and then they start whistling, and they're like, oh, I missed that note. Oh, no. I'm never going to attract a mate now. Get it together, Clarence.
Clarence the bird.
Clarence the blue jay.
Honestly, I think bottom line, braindios would change how humans interact, how we communicate with each other, both good and bad, just like every other type of communication technology ever has. Books, newspapers, mail, email, phones, the internet, social media. Yeah. You know what, though? On some level, Rebecca, I think it would be fun and also awful. Like, you remember when they invented Slack and everybody was like, now you won't have to email as much. They lied. They lied to you. They lied to us all. We email still, and now we also have Slack to check. And then they're like, "Oh, don't worry. We'll also have this ticketing system that we'll use." Nope, you're going to check Slack to see that you got a ticketing system, and they'll tell you that they sent you an email. You check your email, and you go over to the email to click on the ticket, and then you go to the ticketing system, and you have to check it there. It's just one more way for people to poke you with their thoughts and their feelings.
Get your braindio out of my head.
Get your braindio out of my brain.
Where's the tinfoil?
I also do think there would be some incredible stuff, though. Like, to your Hans Zimmer point, imagine if you could go to a concert where they show a Hans Zimmer movie, but you tune into his braindio while you're doing it, and you get, like, or you get somebody who's not Hans Zimmer, who's just like, here's the music that I have composed for this movie, and you wouldn't need an entire orchestra to do it because everybody could. Although, it would be pretty amazing if somebody got so good that you had hundreds of people all broadcasting one instrument through a person who then rebroadcasted it to everybody in the room, like that interpreter thing. I mean, who knows how these things could work, but it would be pretty amazing.
You'd also have entirely new sounds possible, right? Like, you know, the tones of instruments depend so much on what they're made of and how they're shaped, right? And
the physics of the instrument themselves,
right? And like the frequencies the harmonics that they'll amplify. And every now and then, I wonder about this, like, when do people invent new instruments, right? Like, I think about the theremin.
You think about that, too, yeah. I think about that, too.
Which was cool, because it's using, like, electromagnetic interference of the player's hands to interrupt signals and create signals and harmonics, and you get, like, that really weird original theremin sound, you know, like the woo.
Yeah.
If you didn't have any physical constraints on it, you could think entirely new tones.
New music that we couldn't, that you literally only have to imagine.
Yeah.
Which would be incredible. I think we would end up, you know, there'd be people who are like, I just reproduce pop culture songs that are popular. Like, that's all my braindio is. And then there would be people who are out of the box, like postmodern, everything is experimental, that's their braindio. And it would be neat to figure out who people are in part based on that. So I think it would change society in the same way that any other communication technology has changed it. It would add to the richness of the fabric of our society. However, I think there's something that we're not discussing, and that is the inner voice thing again. The Guardian, in a piece, spoke to Russell Hurlburt, a psych professor at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And Hurlburt said, we don't actually have an inner monologue all the time. And in fact, instead, we're mostly talking to ourselves or replaying a conversation. So what he did is he used this thing called descriptive experience sampling. You wear a little device, and occasionally it would beep. And when it beeps, you stop what you're doing and you write down what is happening or was just happening in your head. Like a dream diary, but for daytime. And after 50 years of research...
Wow, another long-termer.
Yeah, he's doing it. People only have their inner voice about 25% of the time in their reported results with this kind of situation. Some people never have words going on, he said, and few people have words going on all the time. A lot of people have words going on only some of the time. So another way to think about this like braindio thing is people aren't going to be thinking in words, right? They might think in images and feelings. IFL Science found a Reddit thread where they asked people to describe other ways of thinking, like the example of the inner voice of you get out of a meeting with your boss and maybe you think, oh, dang it, I don't want to do this. This sucks. But you don't say it out loud. You just think it in your head. And another user said, when I'm frustrated like that, I don't think any words. I just feel frustrated. I don't hear any words. I don't picture any words. I just feel it. And that was cool. So maybe there would be braindios that were much more like hard to describe if they had anything at all. There would still be some ephemera of thought that wouldn't be able to be tapped into for sure. Because again, only 25% of the time would any of these braindios, unless you're purposefully pushing it out there, even be active accidentally. Do you think you'd have your own theme song?
The first place my mind went to when Rebecca asked about, oh, if you have your own theme song, was Crunk from The Emperor's New Groove.
I thought the same thing.
You thought the same thing? Let's go. Yeah, exactly. Oh, he's doing his own theme music. Yeah, that's all I could think of, and I'm just picturing myself walking around doing. But it would just be the Crunk theme music again.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah,
you know,
it would be really good.
If you're gonna do your own theme music walking around.
The classic B movie film A Long Kiss Goodnight, when Samuel L. Jackson has this point where he's like singing to himself, and the other character, I'm pretty sure it was Gina Davis in this scene, is like, what are you singing? And he goes, I sing to myself to remember things. Da, 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 da. Put my hand in my left pocket. Da, 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 da.
It's just 12 bar blues, but every like in between.
Yeah, and it's just like, does that count as hearing someone's inner thoughts if all of their inner thoughts are just like, dun, 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 remember to get the milk from the store. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know. It would be pretty devastating if somebody heard you trying to remember a list of things with the 12 bar blues. But hey, you never know. It would be pretty cringe.
I think it'd be more common than you think. It would give me some comfort that everybody else is just like faking their way through every day.
They're just in there playing the theme song to Disney's Gummy Bears.
Yep.
Gummy bears bouncing here and there and there. Anyway.
Where'd I put my keys?
Dun, 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 dun,
oh. I can't find my keys. Anyway. That would make me feel better, personally.
I love it.
I think it's more common than we think.
Rebecca, thank you so much for your question. It was very fun to think about this pretty ridiculous and yet kind of amazing way that we could communicate. I was really excited about it.
Well, that is going to do it for this episode of That's Absurd. Please elaborate. The show was created, produced, written by Trace Dominguez.
And also Julian Huguet. Today's show was produced and edited by the wonderful and braindio influencer, Kyle Sisk.
Also associate produced by Sabrina Capello. Music is thanks to not our own brains. That's actually the brains of the people at Epidemic Sound. And our intern is Charlie Woodbury.
Not Our Own Brains, also great band name. Thanks to all the listeners who submitted questions in this episode. That would be Shane, as voted upon by the patrons, and Rebecca. Thank you for sending us those voice notes as well. It really makes the show better, so we really appreciate that. If you want to submit a question, look for the form down in the show notes. You can find it there. You can email us at hello@that'sabsurdshow.com. You can visit our website, that'sabsurdshow.com, and click on Ask a Question. You can call 302-TAPESHO. Tape Show.
Mm-hmm.
We could not do the show without your questions, so thank you for sending those in. We really, really appreciate it.
Thanks again to our patrons over on Patreon and our absurd administrators, as always, Adam, Les, Austin, Jonathan, Dan, Sabrina, The Brain, Hannah, Pinky, Apothecarian, Christina, and Atomic Straw, who just upgraded this month. Thank you, Atomic.
Oh,
and
that's amazing.
We've got some anniversary shout-outs. Adam has been subscribed for 15 months. Les, 15 months. The Brain, 15 months. Austin, 9. ForgeBot for 3. We've also got some new patrons that have joined recently. Oh my gosh, quite a lot. Catherine, Cacodemonium, Josh, Cindy, Plurf, Lucas, Chris, and Swamp Goat.
I love that.
Swamp Goat.
Also, great band name. We are Swamp Goat. That'd be really. I would love. Oh, that'd be so fun.
Swamp Goat concert.
I would go see Swamp Goat today, right now. It would. That would be good.
Fantastic. We also got to give a shout out to our patrons who have successfully bingoed. That would be Tom. Congrats on your bingo. As well as, oh my gosh, this is the second time in a row where somebody whose question was selected by the Patreon also got bingo. Shane.
Good job, Shane.
That's incredible.
Way to go, Shane.
And now your cards have been reset. Don't panic when that happens. That's me. After I say congrats, then we set it back to 0. So congrats to those patrons. And Shane, big winner this week.
Again, thanks to all those patrons. Because of your support, we can keep the show going. That is really the only support we have to make the show right now is from you, the patrons. So you have a lot of power over us.
And kind words from my mom. Oh, that's a big
yeah, and also kind words from your mom. Leave us a review if you haven't, wherever you're listening. And I want to ask, because it's the holidays, share this show with your family. Like Rebecca said, her whole family listens to the show. I really love that. That is the best. Find a friend who you think might like it and send it to them. It helps us grow the show. As we grow the show, we can do more things. We can do more live shows. We can do more crazy, silly things that you are going to see pretty soon. We've got a silly thing coming out very soon this holiday season that we actually went and spent some of our Patreon money to make happen, and I think it's going to come out really cool. But stay tuned for that. But really, we can't do this show without you and your support, but part of that support is helping us grow the show if you can. So find a friend and send it to them. Really awesome if you do.
You're like, this is my Brain Dio, and it's 2 dorks with a podcast.
I bet you there would be Brain Dio podcasts. For sure. Sure.
Oh, that's another can of worms. All right. If you also want to see clips of this show and, see us reacting to each other or see Sabrina's Gen Z editing, which always cracks me up, you can check out
so good.
That's Absurd Show over on Instagram. Also, special thanks to those listening on Nebula. Nebula listeners get access to ad-free versions of episodes of our show and other shows. So there's actual perks there for them. And to join Nebula, you can visit go.nebula.tv/that'sabsurdshow. By joining, you're also supporting us. You're supporting other great creators. You get a lot of amazing science and other content over on Nebula. A lot of great educational creators making stuff just for that platform. And we highly recommend it. I'm a big fan of Nebula. I watch exclusive stuff on there all the time.
I just went to a premiere for The Dinner Plan, Patrick Willems' new short movie, and it had John Hodgman in it. Amazing. I got to hang out with John Hodgman.
Is so funny.
He was very funny in person as well.
One of the greats of nerdy, deadpan humor. An idol.
And he's very good in this. I really enjoyed it. So if you want to watch that, you can watch it over on Nebula. But we say at the end of every episode, we have this catchphrase, we use it every time. It's always the catchphrase that we use. Thanks for tuning in to my Brain Dio Brainfo Wars. E equals MC squared is a lie. It's a lie.
They're trying to take away our tinfoil hats.
They're trying to make us listen to their Brain Dios.
They're trying to make you wear a tinfoil hat so you can't hear Brainfo Wars.
Why is it so easy to do that?
Gotta get these brain supplements.
Get the brain supplements.
If you don't hear an inner monologue, that's a lizard person.
And as we say at the end of every episode, once I was the king of Spain.
Now I eat humble pie. Oh, that's gonna
and
be
meet
there.
my unspeakable wife, Queen Lisa.
Now I eat humble pie.
Once I was the king of Spain.
I can't believe you know Moxie Frubus.
Now I work at the pizza. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. It's so good. It's so good.
It's so catchy.